Hi everyone, Outdoor Enthusiast 88 here again. So I wanted to do a quick video on how to disassemble or take apart your Mosin Nagant bolt. And what I have on the table here is a 1941 Finnish M39 rifle, as well as a 1943 M9130 Russian Mosin Nagant rifle. And of course the Finnish is a Mosin Nagant variant of the Russian M9130. But the bolts and receivers are both Russian, and of course both rifles have been cleared. Now the interesting fact is even though the bolts themselves are identical, the Finns went to great lengths to make this rifle, the M39, more accurate and slick compared to the 9130. So they are the same. The Russian one's on top here, the 9130, and this one obviously looks really clean. Shot it quite a bit. Keep it clean though. This one I've shot quite a bit, but it came to me like this. I've cleaned up as much as I can. Looks a little beat up, which, you know, kind of makes sense. I mean, it isn't. I think this is a much older rifle because the hexagonal receiver here, even if this doesn't match, I believe, you know, the captured parts, just kind of thrown together. It's been beaten up over the years. So the interesting part though is that the 9130 will fit in the Finnish receiver, but it is very gritty and not very useful to actually use in there, whereas the Finnish bolt they put together does work in the 9130 with quite a lot of slop. So let's take a closer look at these bolts here and see if we can get them taken apart. Okay, so here are the two bolts. The 9130 is up top here, and then the M39 bolt is right here. They are identical. Some of the serial numbers have been scrubbed away. The Finnish like to scrub some of the serial numbers depending on what they're doing and how fast they're working. There's also a bunch of different stamps on this one, but essentially they are the same. So I will start with the M39, and it's good to note that you might have saw in the video a little earlier all these tools in this little bag. Now these are 9130 Mosin Nagant tools. Most of these are involved in the cleaning process. If you want to use the old style steel cleaning rod that comes on the rifle, you can use these and attach them to do various cleaning items. But this one right here is the go-to Mosin Nagant tool. This is used for multiple ways in disassembly, as well as checking your firing pin towards the end after I put it back together. So I'll show you how to use that. But if you don't have this, you don't really need it. Okay, just to let you know, you really don't need it. But it's good to have if you have it. So what you want to do, you want to grab the bolt right here, take the whole assembly with the slide here with you, counterclockwise, a quarter turn. Yeah, I'll show you again. Take the whole thing with you. That way the bolt head can slide off. This part right here, it's on a rail, slides off like that. Now, this is the hard part that, you know, a lot of people can find difficult. You have to unscrew the firing pin, which is about the length of a pencil. It goes all over to the back here. You have to unscrew this firing pin out. And you have a couple ways to do that. You can either use the little prongs here. So I want to slide it in, start turning. You could do that. So not too bad. You can use the tool right here. Takes probably a couple dozen turns to get that to pop out. And there's a spring in here, so it will be a little bit of pressure, but it's not like it's going to shoot across the room or anything. And lastly, you actually can hand crank this if you want to. It is going to hurt your fingers a little bit, but it's doable. But for time's sake, I'll just do this. Do it this way. And when you see that part sticking out there, you know it's almost unscrewed. There's that spring. There you go. That is it. That is the completely disassembled bolt for Mosin Nagant. And like I said, this one's the Finnish. See, there's a lot of random markings on here. Every little part has a different marking from various manufacturers. I mean, it could be from the Russians, could be from the Finnish. It is, I mean, it's, you know, it's discolored. It's got, you know, some pitting on it, but it's nothing, it's not really that bad. I mean, it works well, it shoots well. Just keep it clean. You won't have a problem with these type of bolts. And I cleaned a lot of the rust off if there was any on the surface rust, but there's nothing internally kind of sticking out. All right, so to reassemble, this one's the tricky part. You want to get a hard surface to get it started. So you want to get like a piece of wood, a little scrap. You want to take these two pieces here. Oops, I'm on backwards. Now there's a little slanted part there that kind of go together with. Take your bolt, I'm sorry, take your firing pin with your spring. Slide it on there. And this is a good way to keep your rifle clean. You don't have to clean this every time. A lot of I've noticed after shooting both of my Mosin Nagants that a lot of the problems with the rust, with the primers and everything that everyone worries about, the corrosive primers, shooting that corrosive ammo, really it's about the barrel. You will see some in here in like the chamber and everything, but you know, just clean it out with good gun cleaning, you know, CLP or something. Or hops number 9, you'll be fine. But the barrel's a big one. Barrel's got to be cleaned. I've seen a lot of Mosin Nagants who haven't been cleaned, and my buddy got one, and it looked like there's just so much rust. It looked like someone poured like sand down the barrel. So if you don't clean it and leave it there for a few months, it will mess up your rifle. But this part isn't as, you don't have to take it apart every single time if you don't want to, at least in my opinion. So what you want to do is find a hard surface. So on spring tension, I'll pull it down, make sure this part right here goes into that tunnel there. It is not the lightest spring ever, but just get it started. You can let it go. Because, go back to your tool here, now you can take this tool and start screwing it back in. Or you can take this little prong here and do the same thing, which this actually is a little easier than the tool even, believe it or not. What you're looking for is on the back, you'll see these lines here. See that screw coming out? You want to make it flat and the lines line up. Make it flush and get the lines to line up. Boom, just like that. It might not be perfect, but they give you at least a good guidance there. So next step is you want to slide this back in there. Should be pretty easy to slide in. I will tell you to make note of the fact that this thing is shaped. You see it's kind of has a couple of flat sides, that hole right there. So when that goes on, that firing pin, if it is lined up correctly, should work just fine. Now you have a groove that goes in and you turn it counterclockwise. And you just want to pull it out just a little bit until that notch can slide in. See that? Now, what's interesting about this thing here, got all these grooves. You have this little screwdriver here kind of deal, right? Then you have these 3 here. Well, it's not a screwdriver, but it's like a mini wrench, right, to get that firing pin out. But these 2 holes here are used to test the firing pin and making sure that it's long enough. So the one on the far outer edge, close to the flathead here, is just to have it so you can fit it on the top of the bolt, right? It's nothing important. But this middle notch here, this number 2, should rock back and forth. See if I can get a better angle for you. See that? It should put it on there, rock back and forth. But number 3 should slide without any resistance. And that's why this part here lines up as long as you get it close, right? And believe it or not, you actually can make it really straight if you wanted to. But the lines are actually a little off, so it's not really gonna do much to you, but. And test it again. There you go. Now, to put it back together, all that's in there, hold this together. You wanna slide it back, the whole assembly. And that's it. All right, so if you have any questions, let me know. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hope this helps anyone who's a new or a long-term owner of a Mosin Nagant rifle. Thanks, have a good one.